a Funhouse PowerDriver board, and the symptoms on this were there was no flash lamp power. So the 20 volt test point was dead, and this LED up here was not illuminated. You can see that somebody has wholesale changed out all the capacitors on this board. I do not recommend that. I'll say that over and over and over again. The only 3 capacitors on this board that really make a difference are C2, which tends to leak and corrode the traces underneath it. That's in the regulated 12 volt section. C4, which is in part of the 5 volt section, and then C5. The rest of these caps don't matter one darn bit to the operation of the game. If you feel confident and you've been doing board repair for a long time like I have, well, okay, have at it. But I don't do this. I don't wholesale change out the caps on my board, so that says something. I added a blocking diode at the bottom of, I think that's R213. And what that does is prevents power from the 20 volt and the 70 volt power from shorting together and blowing up C11. Now that's not what happened here. When somebody had taken the cap out before, they ripped the through holes out, and that's why I don't recommend wholesale changes, but they ripped the through holes out, so I did a solder stitch to fix that. So let's put it into test and test the PowerDriver board functions. Why am I not getting any coils? This should be fun. Look at this hackage here. But that's got something to do with it. I will be back. The Funhouse PowerDriver board, which had the hacked board work at U4, and I rolled pictures in on that. That's all repaired right now, and we are testing for this board as a whole. I replaced C2, C4. Somebody had already replaced C5 with these big ass ugly caps, but it is what it is. I tested continuity to make sure that it was done correctly, and yes, it was. And then I had to replace C11 because it had exploded, probably because one of the high current connectors was connected over here. That's possible to do on some games. There's really no way to know, but that's a theory. So I also implemented this 1N4004 blocking diode at the base of the big sand resistor, and that prevents, if that happens again, it prevents that cap from being destroyed. So let's go into test and test the driver board functions. And we'll start with solenoid test. Let me make it cycle. Whoever replaced U4 in the past really was learning at that point, I'll just say, because they were prying underneath the part to get it off. And of course, that's never good. Now the flashers. Excellent. GI. And we can make sure that it dims as it should on each of the strings. While I'm down here, I can show you the 12 volt unregulated, the 5 volt is at 507, and the 12 volt regulated. And I've already tested the 20 and the 70 volts, or it says 50. It's a point of confusion with WPC. It's really 70 volts, even though the schematics say 50 volts. And we see that all the lamps are now functioning. And before I repaired the hack at U4, nothing downstream of U4, including the high voltage solenoids, which U4 drives, would work. Now I could make it work by pressing on pin 1 of the hack job that was there before. So it's just a better solution for me and for the client to remove that hackage, put machine pin SIPs in this case, and then clean all that up. I had to add a jumper on top of the board, and there's 2 jumpers between pins 1 of U4 and U5 and pin, what is that, 13 of U4 and U5, because it was just the cleanest way to repair the board. All right, that is it. I thank you so much for sending it, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. As Rudy might say, get yourself a hack dog.